Hey guys, welcome to my 1,000 subscriber special. So this is the Q&A that you guys have been waiting for, and I just want to have a special thanks to everyone who answered or gave me a question, and I'm going to be answering them right now. So let's take a look at what we got. Who are you? Well, that's an easy one. My name is Mac Allen. Where are you from? I'm from Virginia in the United States, but I'm also Irish. What is your favorite bit of local folklore from a country you like? My favorite folklore is probably Irish, but that's probably only because it's the only folklore I know. Kind of. I mean, I don't really know much folklore, but I guess Irish folklore, like tales like Finn McCool, would be like the only stuff that I know, and especially considering my heritage. So, name five countries that you would like to see unite in the future, or if not, five countries you would like to gain independence. I think I'll do countries that I'd like to see gain independence. So, like, maybe Tibet or East Turkestan, and China's going to kill me for these ones. Zululand, New Caledonia, and maybe Karelia. Not really sure if any of these are really likely, though. I mean, they're kind of part of stronger governments. Well, South Africa, maybe not, but the others. Also, are you going to make a Discord for your subscribers? Yes, I'm actually starting one up very soon, so everyone be sure to look for that. What country or empire from the past would you like to see the most return in the present day? Probably the Ethiopian Empire. They were pretty based under Haile Selassie, and communism kind of ruined the country and fragmented the people there. But I think if they had a strong leadership, they could really police the Horn of Africa area and create a strong government. What country do you like the most, and which country do you recommend us visit? Well, of course, I'm going to be partial to the United States and Ireland, considering my ancestry, but I'd really suggest Poland and Ukraine as well. They have a great culture, language, and women as well. I would definitely visit both of them 10 out of 10, but I'd also visit places like Turkey, Brazil, and parts of the Balkans, especially Serbia and North Macedonia. What country would you like to visit someday, and why did you choose to get a career in YouTube about history? Well, I've already kind of answered the first part of this question, but I would like to visit at least most of the countries in the world. And this isn't really my primary career right now. My primary career is being a student, but hopefully for a few years I'll be able to just make this my primary career. How did you get into geography? Well, when I was 3 years old, I had this flag book and it had all like the capitals, currencies, and locations of the countries, and that's kind of how it all started. But then in a sixth grade history class, it kind of got me back into it after I lost interest in the whole thing for a while. We were learning about the two world wars, and I was just really interested in the borders and all that, and the rest is history. If you could visit any Middle Eastern country or Balkan country, which one? Aside from Turkey and both regions, I'd probably visit all the Balkan countries, but if I had to choose, I'd probably say Serbia and North Macedonia, because I've got great friends there, including some of my YouTube partners. But for the Middle East, probably Qatar, the United Arab Emirates, but especially Oman. I just like how it's doing well, but it's still got that traditional vibe to it. So I'd definitely say Oman would be my favorite. Could you show us what would happen after the Syrian civil war? Syria, I think, from what's really going on, will either end up in Turkish or Iranian influence. I think Turkey will end up winning out in the day, especially as you will see in my second part to my last week's video. So don't forget to watch that. But it just seems more likely, especially since Turkey has a large military presence in the region already, and also they're geographic neighbors, so it would make more sense in the end. Could Yugoslavia reunite? Unfortunately, I don't think so. We have places like Slovenia and Croatia that are just so estranged from the other countries because they were the industrial heartland of Yugoslavia, and they kind of wanted to gain independence from it anyway. So now, since they've integrated with the West, so they probably wouldn't be willing to rejoin. As for Bosnia, I think the wounds of the Yugoslav wars are too large. Montenegro and Macedonia, I don't know about them either. I don't know if they'd like to reunite with Serbia. Montenegro would be the most likely, though. Why did you start this channel? I started this channel when the pandemic started because finally I had the time to do this. I mean, I've been wanting to do this for a while, but like with school just mostly being online, yeah, I finally had the time to start, and one day I was brave enough to actually record my voice and make a video. And here we are today. What do you think would happen if Kosovo and Albania united? Well, it depends on what you mean by that, really. If they united tomorrow, then we'd have some serious border disputes with Serbia and Albania because there would be a large chunk of territory that is disputed between two different internationally recognized sovereign countries. Let's say this is in the near future where possibly Turkey has some military influence, especially in the Albanian populated regions. I don't think there's much that Serbia could really do about it, except kind of ask for Russian protection, just in case anything else happens. Why is Federation State of Micronesia a country? I honestly have no clue. Oceanian geography and history, it's kind of my blind spot when looking at the world, but I hope to learn more about it someday. Kosovo is? Well, it would depend on what you mean by Kosovo is. Do you want me to answer what Kosovo is objectively, or what I would like Kosovo to be, or what I think it is deep in my heart? Objectively, Kosovo is a disputed territory that is disputed between the Republic of Serbia and the unilaterally declared Republic of Kosovo, which declared independence in 2008, but is only recognized by half of UN members. As for what I believe it should be, Kosovo is... When do you think Serbia, Montenegro, North Macedonia, and Albania will join the EU? And how do you see Bosnia in 20 years? I think they'll all join around 2030, but I think Serbia and Montenegro will do so faster, considering they're more democratic, but it seems like North Macedonia is becoming more democratic as of late as well. Albania, I think, would be the least likely because they're probably culturally closer to Turkey, just because a country is part of the Turkish Commonwealth, we'll call it, and the European Union. It's not mutually exclusive. They could be part of both. I think Albania would be one of those countries, and North Macedonia possibly too. As for where I see Bosnia in 20 years, it's hard to say. They could either stay united and just be pulled back by inertia, or they could split up into the two federal entities. This may make the Federation of Bosnia and Herzegovina achieve its goals of joining the West a bit faster, and Republika Srpska be able to kind of just rejoin Serbia, and all of the Serbian people will be reunited again. So that's a possible outcome. You mentioned that Bosnia is the most interesting country to you in Europe. Why? What do you think about the country and the best way to solve its problems? It's just so interesting because of how many cultures are there. It's just like, you have this one country with 3 million people, and they're basically the same ethnicity, but 3 different major global cultures are clashing within the same country. The Western, Orthodox, and Islamic cultures. Really, the best way to solve their problems would just be to understand that religions fundamentally teach the same truths, and there's no real reason to argue over that. But I don't know, it doesn't seem very likely. Religion is a big part of their culture, and I wouldn't want to step in and really impose anything. So, how to solve their problems? I have no idea. But that wraps about all the questions I received. So, thank you to all of you who sent questions. And please check out my part 2 to the Turkish Superpower series coming out this Sunday, and a special news report by myself about the current crisis in Chad coming out on Monday. I'll see you guys next time.